Hello and welcome to Podcasting Curious with your host, me, Galina Rivina. I am super excited today for my guest. This is my friend. This is my homie from Cleveland and a very talented comedian. Please welcome Bill Squire to the podcast. Hi, Bill.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I mean, as good as anyone can be in 2020 each day. This is also the day where 2020 feels most like this time of year. It's supposed to feel this way, the in between Christmas and New Year's, where you eat whatever you want, time doesn't matter, that all that stuff. And I'm using it as a way to create new shower playlists.
You have shower playlists? I love that. I'm like a big listen to podcasts while I shower person just to get through more podcasts. But what is your shower playlist right now?
So I haven't done this for a while. I was kind of like going with the same stuff for a while, and I'm trying to diversify more and listen to more than just like my comfort songs that just kind of take me back to like those last few years, last few years of high school, where you kind of dig into the same stuff and listen to it again and again and again.
Hmm.
But I went with a kind of an emo-y, but not emo, but more like a new wave goth themed uh playlist where it starts with Tears for Fears, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, and then The Cure and Smashing Pumpkins and Depeche Mode and Placebo and Radiohead. And
You're really aging yourself right now.
yeah, these are I'm almost 40. But then I got the Killers in there, but I got some David Bowie uh and you know what I want to add to it though is a new guy that I don't, is it a guy or a band, but Choir Boy. I don't know if you know Choir Boy.
I don't know Choir Boy, but I
So
would probably like it based on what you listed.
yeah, so it's very much that like goth emo new wave type sound. And I was very skeptical based because I judged the book by its cover, and I
Hmm.
saw the album cover. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. And then I turned it on and I was like, oh, this is so, I need to hear it first, because as soon as I heard it, I'm like, this is right up my alley of like that sad dance music,
I
which is
love
like,
that jazz music.
but that's what it is. That's like what goth music is, where it's like it's kind of got this driving beat to it, and it's like
Hmm.
a slow swaying kind of dance, but that's like really, like, I don't know, I like that kind of shit.
I do too. I hear you. And I have like a comfort playlist similar to that. And mine is from when I was in high school, which is mostly just like 2005 through 2007 Warp Tour bookings.
Okay.
So anytime I'm in a mood, I'll just turn on like Newfound Glory or Brand New or The Used. And I get so, I mean, it just takes me right back. I love how it makes me feel.
Yeah, my like just kind of transport myself, like I listen to a lot of like Newfound Glory and Brand New, but like I'm a little before that, where it's more like Homegrown and Phoenix TX2, and then
Mhm.
MXPX. So like that pop punk where it's transitioning into
Oh,
like
yeah.
more of the emo stuff. But I really like a lot of that. But my real go-to, like listen to it to just kind of like completely like transport myself to one happy time is I listen to a lot of Cake. I don't know if you get into Cake at all.
I didn't get too into Cake, but who I got really into that I feel like is similar was The Offspring. Like I remember going to see them live and they were like from that era too. And it was truly one of my first concerts. I think I was maybe in like eighth or ninth grade when I saw them. So fun.
Yeah, I like that, and that's one of the things too. Like I don't go to a ton of concerts anymore, but I do miss going to see the bands that I do like, and just kind of even going to a bar where there's like a cover band or something, like just having that feeling is definitely something that I miss a lot. My girlfriend's really into music, and so like it's killing her not seeing live music, and like just not having that experience with other people, where I really thought I was more of an introvert than I am
Hmm.
after 2020, where it's like, oh yeah, I do like that shared experience. It's got to be something that I enjoy. Like I can't just go to any concert and have a good
Right.
time,
Yeah. No,
but
you have to at least know the music.
or just like the vibe of the place.
Hmm.
Like I don't want to go see some DJ in like grind and like hump on people. I still
Oh,
like
I
my
do.
son a little bit, but I want to, I want to, if I'm going to go see a band and like hear some classic hits or, whatever it is, I miss that energy you get from live music.
I know, I do too, but at the same time, when I think about, I guess concerts specifically, just because it's so many people all in a room together, you always get really hot when you're at concerts.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that I'm like, am I ever going to be able to go to something like that without all of the PTSD of this year coming up and just thinking about, oh, there's so many people in this room. Like, who has what disease?
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. And I think it's gonna be one of those things where you kind of have to relearn it. But I think it's there's some people that are not gonna get over it. I think there's gonna be
I think
some
so
people
too.
that will always have these restrictions like stuck in their brain. But I'm willing to take the chance because I just need those other experiences. I need to appreciate being home again,
Hmm.
where I don't right now as much. And luckily, I have my dog that makes it easier to be here and makes me happier. But it's very difficult to just be home all the time and just have that like feeling of nothing's going on tonight. Like
Right.
that. Like, what am I gonna do to try and pass time tonight?
It's so hard to not have plans and not have like things to look forward to. And I didn't realize until all of this happened how much that was like my driving force for sanity was whatever was going on that day or that week that stressed me out. It would be like, oh, well, I have this vacation coming up, or I have this show, or I have this trip, or I have this function that I'm going to, this party scheduled, where it was like those things were keeping me afloat just in, oh, I have this thing to look forward to coming up. And it has just been so bizarre and such an adjustment to not have that. And I keep having to remind myself because I know this is, I mean, I hope that this is like a once in a lifetime experience of us being good citizens by staying at home. And I keep having to remind myself, like, hey, you're actually being really responsible by just staying home. Just try to find a way to not lose my mind about it and enjoy it. It's hard to do. It's easier said than done. Like, enjoying staying in night after night after night of just watching TV and feeling like I'm in a hamster wheel a little bit.
Yeah, and it's there is that like comfort that you can give yourself by saying like, yes, I'm doing a good thing by staying home and like but it still doesn't change the fact that you are absolutely missing out on something that you're
Right.
very used to. That 1 year has erased multiple years of social comfort that you had that you didn't even know you needed, and now that it's gone, you're just like, wow, that really was very important to me.
Yeah. And the other thing, and I don't know, I have like such insecurities about talking about it with other comics, but all the more reason that I should. I feel like just because of the lack of shows this year and the lack of like access to getting up in familiar settings, I feel like I'm atrophying as a comic and it scares the shit out of me.
I feel similar because I don't know how to write. Like, I haven't written material because it seems like, oh, this is what everybody's already talking about, and it's not that
Right.
funny or creative or
And you can't
original.
work it out. You can't
And you,
practice it. You
yeah,
can't
you
like
can't work it out,
do your
or
little tweaks.
so it just, yeah, it's like it does very much like those muscles are atrophying. I'm very lucky that I have Hilarities who's doing a great job of have like putting shows together that are
It's
safe and
amazing.
distance and everything like that.
Mhm.
But it's still not every night like it was. It's
Right.
every couple of weeks I'm getting on stage for a few times, and
It's so
it's
hard for people like us that we're just used to having it be every night, and if you took a night off, you still felt a little bit guilty that you weren't getting up because it was
yeah,
just literally every single night.
yeah, and going from that and that approval that you get, and then also that productivity that you feel from
Yes.
going on stage every night, and then that being taken away is like that's a huge adjustment, and that's why you got to kind of shift those focuses and find those things that you can to make you feel like you are doing something. And I know a lot of people have like picked up hobbies and stuff like that. Luckily, I got my dog right before all the lockdown, so like spending time with her has been like life saving because I don't know what kind of depression I would be in if I didn't
Mhm.
have like a little puppy annoying me constantly and just being like, "Hey, I don't care what's going out there. I need you to pay attention to me now, and I need you to love me and play with me and feed me, and I'm going to bark at you and be an asshole and all those different things that dogs do." But it's all like just with 100% authenticity.
Hmm. So, yeah, I guess I don't know. Let's start at the beginning because what was the timeline of you getting a dog? Like all of a sudden, I just noticed you were posting this gorgeous little dog.
I got my dog back in February of 2020, and it was
Ah, the
again.
timing.
So it was when I was. It was before everything got locked down, but I was very much like feeling settled into my. I bought this condo back in November, and I was starting to feel a little bit settled in.
Hmm.
And a plan for me, which I didn't really vocalize to anybody, was once I'm settled into my place, I want a dog
Yeah.
because I've missed having a dog, and I'm not like a road comic. I do the radio show and then I do shows in the evening, but I have like a support system around where, my kids are old enough now that they can take the dog too. And
Mhm.
so
That's
I,
amazing.
I, I have people that can, so I don't have to just like leave this dog alone for immense amounts of time. She's taken care of, but once that, I was feeling settled in, I was like, I'm getting a dog, and I wanted a dog that was going to be hypoallergenic because
Mhm.
that's important to me, and then also doesn't shed because I'm not good at keeping things tidy. And if it was a dog that sheds, it wouldn't work for me. And so I had to go the purchase route,
Mhm.
uh, and I spent a lot of money.
So it's a poodle? She's a poodle?
She's a petite golden doodle.
Oh, that's
So
adorable.
yeah, so
Wait,
she's
but
not.
Goldens aren't, and I guess I also want to address this. So I've heard that the whole hypoallergenic thing is kind of a little bit of a myth because the allergy is related to dog drool and not fur.
Oh, okay.
But you're right that with poodle or poodle mixes, they don't shed. So you're at least out of the woods with the whole, cleaning up constant fur that gets shed. Because my dog, she's 12 pounds, and every week I vacuum up enough fur to like build a brand new dog.
Yeah, and that's I've been there because I had a golden retriever rescue for a dozen years, and he was the sweetest, best dog, but he was just a shedding machine. We had a black lab when I was married, and
Uh,
he shed like crazy, and so I'm just like I can't keep up with that like I used to. Like I was able to do it then, and it made me a little crazy, but now I need something that's going to. And then we also had a Jack Russell Shih Tzu mix, and
mhm.
he would shed a lot too. So like, and then we had cats and stuff. So like now that it's like me and just me here, I wanted something that was not going to shed. So the hypoallergenic was definitely second to the not
Mhm.
shedding. And then everything that was like rescuable was like chihuahuas that would be like good for
Yeah.
my
What'd you say about chihuahuas?
well that's what everybody's has to rescue around here. It's chihuahuas and pit bulls.
Yeah.
And in my building, you have that. It's a you have to have a small dog, and as much as like your dog's a real cute chihuahua, but most of them look like rats to me, and I'm just not into them.
I hear you. They're also, I mean, I love my dog to death, but I'm like super aware that she's not very well behaved and she has a lot of Chihuahua characteristics
Yeah,
that I blame on her breed. But at the same time, like it's also hard to train small dogs. It's hard to discipline small dogs because there's not that danger factor the way that if you got a pit bull and you didn't train it, it could literally kill you or someone else. But with
right.
Chihuahua, you're like, oh, you're being cute. Like even when they're being annoying, you're like, it's kind
Yeah,
of
when they're being
cute.
psycho,
Let's
it's
not
like
threaten
it's
it.
adorable.
Yeah.
Like I have some friends that have chihuahuas, and they're very you know my one friend has a little chihuahua named George, and he's adorable. And then my other one has a chihuahua named Oreo, and like they're both very cute dogs. And like I like any dog, but it just wasn't the right dog for me. And so I started looking up different breeds, and I came across this uh, farm that's not that far from me, and they had all these doodles
Mhm.
and poodles and stuff like that, and they just had a brand new batch that was ready to go. And so as soon as I saw her, she looked like a little piece of fried chicken. I'm like, give me that dog. And so
Did
I went and got
you,
her.
so when you got there, was it a lot of puppies and did you have like a specific interaction with her that you're like, she's the one?
I just saw her on the Facebook page,
Hmm.
and then she sent me some videos. I'm like, yeah, I like her. She was kind of like the the bigger of the three, which
Hmm.
was okay with me. Like she wasn't the runt. I think she's probably the biggest of her siblings. and she just was rambunctious and cute. And like I said, her like golden curls look like a piece of fried chicken.
He does look like a
And
piece
I
of
was just,
fried chicken.
yeah, so I was just like into it. And yeah, and she's a girl. And some people like, I don't know, I get like, I try to make her as girly as possible,
Mhm.
but it's hard to make dogs girly without getting like
And at the same time,
like
it's like we
classic
shouldn't
poodle
be,
cut.
yeah, and we shouldn't be like anthropomorphizing them that much because and I say that
Right.
and being the number one person that does that to my dog. I like stick her in clothes and stuff. She doesn't like it. She just tolerates it. It's for me.
Yeah. Well, with my dog, I just basically the by me saying I'm trying to make her as girly as possible is like I have a pink leash and a pink collar, and I'm like,
Oh, that's the
that's
bare
pretty
minimum.
obvious, right? Yeah, exactly.
What's her
But
name?
she her name is Whoopsie.
Whoopsie. Wait, how did you get that?
Literally, I told my girlfriend that I was gonna get a dog, and she's like, "What?" And like then she came over that night, and I had already put the deposit down, and
Mhm.
she's like, "So you're gonna get a dog?" I'm like, "Actually, I got a dog." And she's like, "You got a dog?" And I go, "Whoopsie." And she's like, "Is that the dog's name?" I'm like, "It is now." So we called her Whoopsie Doodle.
Oh, I love Whoopsie Doodle. Oh, I love that. But what do you actually call her? Because it's like my dog's name is Mila, but she's Boo Boo, she's Boo Boo Bear, she has a million names that are not her actual name.
Doodleoni gets a lot of play, so she gets that, and then Poopsie, Whoopsie, Whoop. There it is. See, like it's all the dumbest versions of her name. And then also just, I like to be mean and just call her idiot and
Oh,
dumb dumb and uh but with like the most love. Like it's never like you're an idiot. It's like,
right.
oh, you're a little idiot, aren't you? You little dumb dumb. Let's go dumb dumb.
The love that
But
is
yeah, a lot of
radiating off of you for this dog. I love it so much. Is this then your first dog that you've gotten like on your own as an adult?
well, I was married for about 10 years, and we had my ex-wife had that golden retriever, and she
Mhm.
rescued that about a year before we
Right.
got together. And then I bought the petite, or not the petite, the Jack Russell Shih Tzu mix on my own, but we were already together. So like this is definitely like the first that I've had like just me,
Hmm. That's awesome. And then at
because
the
we always had
time
like a family.
you're like, oh well, I have my own place, so I'm gonna get a dog. Was it also like for company?
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where I like having the dog to come home to. I like the dog getting me up in the morning, and it
Hmm.
just helps having a routine. And I felt myself getting away from having, like, I mean, I have a schedule for work, but it would be very erratic. And with having a dog that I have to get up and take out every morning and have to take out, a few times a day, and take her on walks and care for her, and having something outside of yourself that you have to, show responsibility for, it just helps me. It just helps me kind of retain that focus and that knowledge that, yeah, there's, bad things, but you always have this one little thing to take care of and care for. And especially with the world as heavy as it's been in the past several years, it's nice to have something that's just kind of pure.
I know that is so nice. And then it's almost like how acts of service help you feel better about yourself. It's like having the dog to
Yeah.
take care of. You're right. Like you said it gives you purpose, it gives you structure. My dog doesn't let me
Mm.
sleep either. Like I am up when she wants to be up, no matter what. Luckily, it's kind of the same time every day, so I've gotten used to it. But it's a responsibility, but not in a way that like I would discourage anybody from doing it because it's so rewarding.
Yeah, and having kids already, like I've done that, and just having something that's a little more, a little less serious. Like my
Yes.
kids are older now. They're the youngest is 18, the oldest is
Mhm.
21. There's a 20-year-old in there somewhere, and so they're making headway in their lives, and they're figuring stuff out. And so it's kind of time for me to be in the mode where it's like, hey, dad's not just like he's there for me, and I know I can count on him, but it's also fun for them to come and see the dog and
Right.
kind of keep that connection, because we don't have, you know, staying and can like keeping that connection with your kids can be a little tough when they're around that age and they're so engrossed in their own lives and their own development, and you're there for them. But just having something to be like, hey, do you want to go for a walk with me and the dog? That's a lot easier for them to just be like, of course, than, just trying to get them to hang out with their dad when they're at that formative age.
Hmm. And then, I mean, if you hadn't gotten a dog right before this lockdown happened, I mean, can you imagine? Like, then you would have gotten 10. Like, one of the amazing things that's happened about COVID is that, like, shelters got emptied. Everybody went and got a dog. I just learned today that, like, Chewy, that delivery company for like pet supplies, apparently their stock tripled this year.
Well, that's good. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, and I know other people, other friends of mine that got dogs this year, and it's just like, I don't know, like some people like cats, and I'm okay with cats. I'm allergic to cats, so they're not as friendly for me. But like a dog, they just make me so happy and they make me giggle and then just like the training and seeing the growth. Like I taught her how to, sit and stay, and we're
Mhm.
still working on roll over, but she's got some pretty good commands. We do some tricks like jumping over things and jumping through things and
That's amazing.
running around and stuff like that. And so it's just, and then she's also very cuddly and like caring for her fur, which is kind of a task because you have to like if she gets wet at all, you have to brush her out or she'll get all naughty. And so like keeping up on that is fun and just the kind of I don't know, the maintenance and the care that you have to give to the dog, it really does give you a little bit of perspective and keep you from falling into those deep depressions like I've been battling my whole life, not just 2020.
Yeah. Have you been, is that something that you're like medicated for?
No, I never went on medication for it. The closest I went was like I've been on what's it called? Adderall because I have pretty bad ADHD.
Mhm.
And so I've been on that before, but I stopped taking that even because I feel like my depression is very like it's very treatable. Like
Mhm.
it's there, and I know there's other people that they need the medication, but I don't think that's the point that I've gotten to ever.
Yeah.
I think mine is really just lack of motivation or just letting myself get in my own head.
Mhm.
And I know I've done enough like talk therapy that they never suggested it.
Yeah.
And if they
Well, that's
would
amazing.
have,
You're doing something for it, you know?
yeah, and if they had suggested something, I would have taken it, but they always felt like it was just, a level of depression that you can take care of with healthy routines and exercise and just staying consistent and finding that consistency to, just push through it.
Well, that's an easy fix with a dog then, because everything you just
Yeah.
listed, consistency and having motivation and having like a thing that you have to do.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I wanted to get her because I knew that those those things are all so important to me and like I haven't I don't know where I'm at weight wise this year. 2020 is not a year where I was like, hey, scales are
Listen,
important, but
nobody's
I know that I've
comparing
been.
ourselves with that right now. My pants
Yeah.
are not fitting like they used to. The last thing I'm gonna do is weigh myself. We're just gonna skim right past. This year doesn't count, right? It doesn't count in comedy years. It
Right.
doesn't count in pounds.
But I was very active, and that's from walking the dog because
Oh
we
yeah.
take these long walks and stay up and running and playing and goofing around with each other. And
Mhm.
so that's definitely like a huge plus. And then also just I don't get to eat my meals peacefully because she's a jerk. Like if I try and eat anything, she will uh so that's kind of changed my outlook on food too. Where like, yeah, I like food and I've overindulged in it in the past and I still kind of do, but I know that if I eat anything that she wants, I'm gonna have to look her in the eye and say no, and that's not the easiest thing to do.
Do
So
you
if I
share
eat
your
a
food?
salad, it's easier. I don't, but my girlfriend did enough, and then now, yeah, I kind of do, I guess. But what I like to do is I like to trick her, and whatever I have, I'll be eating my food. But then because she's such a like beggar and a jerk, while I'm eating it, I just have treats like little tiny little milk bones, and
Oh.
I'll and I'll just chuck those around the room, and then that keeps her occupied.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
Or she'll be chasing these little tiny, and they're like, they're not anything that's going to, like, if she eats 100 of them, it's probably not the best thing. But if I'm giving her 5 or 6 while I'm eating, it's one of those things that I'll make do, and I make her run for them too. So
Yeah.
they're only 5 calories. She's not a fat dog. She's
No,
just
she
fluffy.
looks like she's in tip-top shape. I would never put her on a scale if I were you. Have you tried
Yeah.
those like enrichment toys?
What are those?
So this is maybe just like a rabbit hole that I fell down on TikTok one day, but apparently there's a whole category called enrichment toys for dogs that force them to like really use their nose and really use their digging skills. I'm sure you've seen, I think they're called like Kongs. They're those like plastic toys that you put peanut butter, you put whatever inside of it.
Yeah.
So that's a form of enrichment toy. But then there's one that I got for Mila, and it's like this little it's a foldable, basically, patch of like felt grass. It just looks like a little round thing of like all these grass flaps, and you hide the treats inside the grass flaps so that they have to like use their skill set to find them. It's supposed to be like good for their development.
That's awesome. That's exactly what she needs, because she's so into like digging into blankets or trying to dig into the couch, or her favorite thing to do is take like a toy of hers and put it under the couch just out of her reach. So she just has to like try and pull it back, and then she never can. And then I have to get under there and get it out from under the couch for her. But that sounds perfect.
Yeah, I should. Well, they should be sponsoring me because I think I just sold one to you.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have can you send me a link for that, or like a
Yeah,
picture at least? So I
absolutely.
can,
Well, I'll show it to you. It's nearby. Let me take her off my
yeah.
lap and show it to you. Anyone listening on the audio, this makes no sense at all, but this is the grass thing. So you just open it and then you put the treats and the food all inside of it where they can't see. And then she digs around through it. Look, she's like sniffing it and going crazy because she knows there's usually food in here.
That's
But
great.
yeah,
That's
also,
a brilliant toy.
and then you just like close it up. It barely takes up any room.
That's perfect. I love that. Want that. Because that's like getting the energy, and like some things like we do is like I'll take my Swiffer and I'll put it across 2 dining room chairs and then put like a blanket over it, so it's like a hurdle,
Oh, that's
and
so
then we
cute.
jump over that. So we jump
And
over
she's
that a
like,
few
"Perfect."
times to burn energy, and then we got then we just kind of do a lot of like chasing, because sometimes she wants me to throw things and sometimes she just wants me to chase her.
Mhm.
So depending on what she wants, like, and we go to my sister lives close by, and so we'll go there and throw tennis balls in the backyard. She loves snow,
Yeah.
and it's been snowy here. So when it's snowy, we go out and we bundle up and then go and jump around in the snow, and she just loves it.
That is so freaking cute. Like, what do you think? Have you noticed an effect on your depression then since you got the dog?
Oh yeah, it's been so helpful, because like I said, the reason I got it is because I felt myself slipping into that,
Mhm.
what does it mean? And like obviously this is a year when it's still gonna be tough because I'm not doing stand up and things like that.
Right.
But having her around and like just taking her with me to like when I'm running like real quick stuff, so I can leave her in the car real fast while I'm running in for 5 minutes to do something, or even just like going for a drive with her. Just having her with me keeps me pretty content.
That's amazing. And then does she sleep in your bed?
Sometimes. So like I don't usually let her sleep through the night in the bed.
You're
Uh,
very wishy-washy with these rules for your dog.
I know, and she knows that too. Uh, but so usually, she's allowed to get in the bed and like hang out and lay with us. But there's sometimes where I just want, my bed to myself,
Mm.
especially, so I don't want to just think that that's her bed. She gets to lay in there as a treat, but it's not where she gets to spend all her nights, because I want it to stay like a special place for her,
Fair enough.
and also be able
Unfortunately,
to
I
use it
have no
for other
boundaries.
non. Yeah, I need to use it. I have a girlfriend, and we like to use it for non-dog related activities at times. So
I have absolutely no boundaries with my dog, whether or not I'm alone in my bed. And yeah, she's tried to get involved, which is really embarrassing always, and something I have to explain in advance. There's something
Yeah.
really like I forget she's a dog sometimes, and then she starts doing weird shit. Like even something more innocent, like if I have a friend over and they're hugging me on their way out, she will just get up and take a leg, either my leg or their leg, and just start going to town. And it's not sexual; it's just like a dominance thing, but it's still really mortifying every time it happens. So you're probably
Yeah, my
doing the right thing.
my girl does this. My yeah, she does that too. And I just got a pool table, another thing to just keep me active and
That
kind
is
of recreate.
so cool. And I am inviting myself over next time I'm home and we don't have COVID and I'm playing pool with you.
Absolutely, because that's the whole idea, is because I wanted that, you know, I had the space for it. So I'm like,
Mhm.
my Ramon Rivas, his dad had one that he was getting rid of.
Ah,
He's like, $100 if you come and get it. And I'm like, I'm getting it. So
what a
it's
dream. It is truly a dream of mine to have a pool table. My mom has one in the basement.
yeah, it's awesome. It's so much fun. And it's, it's a pretty nice for $100. I got a steal. The
Yeah.
only thing is we had to carry it up. I'm on the ninth floor,
Mhm.
and we got most of it in the elevator, but the actual like body of it, which is probably about 150 pounds,
Mhm.
we had to carry up
Oh,
the
dang.
stairs 9 flights, and that was
Woo.
brutal.
Are you any good?
There's days when I'm real good, and then days where it can go game by game. Like some games, I'm like, oh man, look at this. I'm cutting good and
Mhm.
banking things good, and then like within the same game, even I can just completely lose it. So I I I know enough of what I'm doing that like I can be competitive and like it's fun to play with me, but
Mhm.
also you have a good shot of winning.
I'm probably around the same skill set level, but probably less because I only get to play like a few times a year. But I always get really excited when I learn that anybody plays, and especially that you own a table. I'm like, oh my God, cool. I can, because I'm not like horrible at it. I'm not
Yeah,
consistent
it's just
at
fun.
it, but I'm not horrible.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is like I'm not going to be like color of money trying to like make. I just want to play and have and I like an activity like that, like pool or darts, those bar kind of games where you can play it and you can, have something to focus on, but it also leads to other good conversations.
Right. And that's such a nice, that really is such good timing too. I don't know if you got that before the pandemic or during, but like what a great other thing that you can do at home.
Yeah, I got that like literally a week ago. So
Oh, okay.
that's like literally just got it. So I'm still super excited about it, but it's nice to have, and I'm excited for like when things are a little more open and I can feel more comfortable about having people over to play. I
Yeah.
mean, that's I got a buddy coming into town next week to perform at Hilarities, and I was just like, "Hey, man, if you're comfortable, I'm fine with you coming over
Mhm.
and playing pool." And he's like, "Oh, I'm there."
Oh, that's amazing. Does Whoopsie care about the table? Does she get like upset at all when she hears it? Because it's like not a quiet activity.
She wants the balls, and I've got caught her a couple of times taking the balls
Mhm.
because it's got like the whole like it's an old bar table,
Mhm.
so it's got like the whole like underground underneath ball return. It's not like pockets.
Yeah.
Uh, And so she can hear him coming and she just waits there. And a couple times the other day she took one and I'm like, what did you put under the couch? And I put my hand under there and I feel like this hard pool ball. And I'm like, damn it, you got it. And so like I'm very much instilling in her, like, that's not okay to
Mhm.
go and get these. Cause like I can get new balls, but I don't want her to hurt her teeth or something like that because
Yeah,
they are pretty hard.
they're pretty hard. They're like jawbreakers. They're worse than jawbreakers.
Yeah. But
Um,
she likes to chase the balls around as I'm shooting. So she'll
aw.
hear them bouncing. Like she just kind of like hops on her hinders and looks up at the table, just like dreaming of a day when she can somehow get up there, which she won't be able to, hopefully.
Does she make you laugh a lot?
Yes. Yeah. She's so silly.
That's something
Because
that's
she's
so
just
like an
mhm.
antidepressant too. And I don't think I can't really speak to cat ownership, but I've had cats and I have friends with cats, and I feel like dogs are funnier.
Yeah, I think dogs are funnier because I feel like the energy is different with
Hmm.
dogs of just like cats are a little more reserved and dogs really don't care what you think as long as like they're having fun. So like just like the goofiness, like when it's snowing and she just does those bunny hops in the snow, it's just the cutest thing. And
Yeah.
you're laughing and then like she can't understand like how she got all covered in snow. And it's like, oh, this is, everything's always baffling to her.
Yeah. Do you have to take her for like frequent haircuts?
Yeah, I take her about every 6 weeks to get some grooming done. And the groomer is real good about like teaching me how to keep her from like once we had to do like a real deep shave
Oh
because she
no.
got matted. And so like I did not like that. So I'm very vigilant about brushing her every single day
Mhm.
to make sure that she doesn't get matted or knotted up or anything like that.
That's amazing. Like that's an extra responsibility that you have to take
Yeah.
on because not all dogs need to be brushed to that extent.
Right. And she doesn't love it. So we're still working on her behaving because, especially if the hair is a little bit tangled up,
Yeah.
it hurts. And so she gets a little mad sometimes, but she's gotten better about it. And to the point where now it's she knows what's coming and she will kind of avoid it, but she knows it's important because I do it so often.
How did you get past? Because I actually have this problem too, where if Mila's mat, like her fur will get matted, and then she'll try to fight me and she'll try to bite the brush. So a lot of times I just give up and let her look homeless.
I just power through it and let her kind of freak out for a little bit and then do it again. And again, it comes to just doing it every day so it doesn't get to the point
Mhm.
where she gets matted. To just prevention is the key. And
Yeah.
that's like that's basically what it comes down to is like just making sure I do it enough times, like sometimes twice a day, sometimes more, sometimes less. But I try to, at least once every day I'll brush her out just to especially like the problem areas where she like her hips and legs and stuff where she's laying down and it tends to clump more there.
Mhm. Is it is she like a lap dog? Is she constantly just like on top of you looking for attention?
Oh yeah, she's very and like I'm honestly a little nervous right now because she's just not in here and she usually is like right at my feet or up my butt usually, but like she'll just come and plop down on me and like if she doesn't like my phone, she doesn't like when I'm on my phone.
Mhm.
And so she'll come and try and like get that out of my hand and force my focus to be on her and not on my phone, which sometimes she's right to do it, but sometimes I'm trying to work. And so it's she doesn't know the difference.
That's ideal though to get to be someone that like craves interaction, and especially right now when you're like missing out on all these things we talked about, like shows and going out and having the social life that I know that we used to have, where it's like of course it helps so much to have these dogs that are so cuddly because you're like getting, I don't know if it's oxytocin or dopamine or what it is, but like for sure you're flooded with some kind of chemical when you're like petting your dog and they're being affectionate back.
Yeah, and then also just the silliness, like you said, the names and like the goofiness that you get to have and that looseness of being around your dog where you're just like kind of your most authentic and silly and kind of giddy self where
Yeah.
you can use the dumb voices and have the dumb nicknames and just be really, just goofy and have that release too, which I think helps a lot, especially this year where you need
Yeah.
some levity to your day to day.
And they don't judge you. Like they don't care what you do, how
Oh
much
no.
money you make, how many followers you have. Like they're just so stoked every time you come home to be with them, every time you're like feeding them, giving them milk bones, whatever. Like they're just so happy, and I love, like I can never get past how great it is that she doesn't know certain things about me and doesn't care.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's really and again, it does kind of provide a little bit of uh perspective where you go, okay, so yeah, we especially in this business where you have to put yourself out there all the time, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, you can just be enjoyed and be loved unconditionally because you bought a slave dog.
Yeah. They do love unconditionally though. It's so true. And I also like, I don't think anybody that is well adjusted. And I should say well adjusted with quotes around it, but like, isn't it a red flag when people talk to their dogs not in a special dog voice?
I think so. I think it's because even like police officers that have like the canine unit, I see have that bond where, they're trying to be professional to a certain degree, but they're also, you can see them be kind of cute with those dogs.
Yeah, which makes those dogs like less intimidating. Anytime I see a police dog at the airport, I'm like, "Are you sure I can't pet it?"
I know, right?
It's
Because
so
they're so well trained, and you're just like, I know it's actually like the best boy, really.
yeah, the best boy. And all dog like I know that it's this whole like loop around to flying with pets and stuff where people are like, "Oh, it's my emotional support dog." But at the same time, isn't every dog an emotional support dog?
Oh, absolutely. And also, like, I had no problem like with anyone flying with their dog if they like have to buy a seat or something like that, because it's terrible to put the dogs down in the cargo area. It's
I know.
terrifying and it's cold and it's like abusive to me. So I'd rather have a loud dog on a flight that's not, but I feel like most people that bring their dogs on flights, like it's without incident. I
Mhm.
feel like it's more like the weird animals that people bring that has given that a bad rap.
Yeah, I think so too. Like I've flown with my dog. I can't even tell you countless times, like truly probably 50 times. And she never makes any kind of noise. She's really good about it. She's great about being in her carrier. And I got like a note that says she's an emotional support animal, but like that's not real.
Yeah.
But she does support me emotionally. So it might not
So
be on paper what it's supposed to be, but at the same time, it's like I'm flying with her because I feel better having her with me than leaving her at home and then having anxiety about like who's taking care of her. Is she happy? Is she eating? Is she missing me?
yeah, and when you do that, do you keep her on your lap when you're flying and just have to like put her in the carrier when you're in the airport? How does that all work?
So a lot of people don't even bother putting their dogs in carriers. I actually prefer to keep her in the carrier the whole time because she's a little chaotic and confused when she's outside of it. She just starts like wrapping herself around my legs or trying to sniff
Mhm.
other people's stuff and getting in the way. On the airplane, I've tried to take her out and put her in my lap, and she actually doesn't really like it and prefers to be in the carrier. So she will jump out of it and then like literally turn around and crawl right back in.
That's good to know because that's you know I I don't have any plans of traveling anytime soon, but eventually I'd like to travel, and I probably will take the dog with me on some of the trips.
Yeah, you should because I think especially if you're talking about like doing road gigs, that kind of traveling, that can be such a lonely and depressing time when you're just like doing a weekend somewhere and you've only got this small like scheduled time. It's like you only go and start your shows after 6 p.m. It's like you have all day to do nothing. And that can be so lonely and treacherous where you're like, what
Yeah.
am I going to do in this foreign town, in this holiday inn? I don't have a car. It's sometimes a place where you're like, I can't even go do anything touristy if I wanted to.
Yeah, and one thing, and she's pretty good at car trips because I drive around with her a lot. And like a couple weekends ago, I bought this whiskey barrel bar, and I took her with me to go pick it up. And it was
Oh,
like
cool.
in southern Ohio, so like I just drove down there. This guy just had a workshop, so it was just like, he's like, hey, when you get here, just ring the bell and I'll bring it out, and he just put it in the car, like no contact. It was super easy, but she was real good. It was like, she spent like 8 hours in the car that day, and she was pretty good the whole time. So
That's a lot.
she seems like, yeah, I know. Well, I mean, we stopped and we'd go for walks, and but she was good.
How far away was the place where you first got her?
Near Sandusky, so like an hour away.
Oh, okay. That
And
feels
she
like that's
threw up.
always the
She threw up on the way home.
Oh no.
It was her first time in a car. She was
Yeah.
motion sickness.
Why are all the like places to get dogs always at least an hour and a half from where everybody lives?
Because you need a lot of land. So I feel like it's one of those things where it they just had a like a farm out there, and they're breeders, but like I did enough research and read the reviews, and they seem like they really know what they're doing. They care about the dog, and my dog's going to be 1 year old next. Actually, on Wednesday, and
Oh,
so I'm ready to send the breeder a picture of her as for her birthday, because she really does like to check up on them and make sure they're all happy and taken care of.
oh, well, happy birthday, Whoopsie. Are you gonna throw a party? Are you gonna be that dog dad?
Yeah, we're
Well,
gonna have a little.
not a party, but like, you know.
I'm gonna make her a cake. My girlfriend signed her up for like Bark Box for
Mhm.
puppies, and so they have a cake that's
Aw.
like safe for dogs. So we're gonna make her a cake on
Oh my
her
God,
birthday.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, Bill, it sounds like you're such a good dog dad. I'm so happy for you that you got this dog. Like, what great timing.
Yeah, I love her, and I hope she stays around for a long, long time.
She will. You should do I just did this DNA. My whole last episode of this podcast was about the DNA test that I did for my dog.
Oh, nice.
I don't know what breed, well, I didn't know what breed she is. So I was like mostly doing it for that, but it also came with like genetic testing where they profiled like if she has any kind of conditions, if she's like
Oh, okay. That'd
susceptible
be good to know.
to
Yeah.
anything. So luckily it showed that like she only had two markers out of like 179 for potential genetic disorders, and that like made me feel really good because she's 12 and I'm like, oh, thank God, she's in good health, she doesn't have any of these markers for anything. I can like breathe easy as a dog owner, because it's like the second you get a dog you're like, you better not die on me, you better live forever, you better
Yeah.
outlive me, I can't deal with this.
Yeah. I mean, they're little tragedies just waiting to happen.
Yeah, but we
So
do it, we choose to break our own hearts, and it's
it's
totally
it's
worth
worth it. It's worth it.
it. Would you get another dog?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I'm gonna be a dog owner the rest of my life. And
But
with
right
my,
now, like, would you ever have two?
I'm not allowed to in my building,
Oh,
so if
okay.
I'd have to move
Mhm.
or have a secret, uh, have them one at a time and wear a disguise,
Yeah, right. Just get two of the same
or,
looking dog, and
like buy a house. Yeah, I could see myself having another dog at some
yeah.
point.
I feel like it would be a lucky dog because you sound like such a good dog dad, and it sounds like it's such a fun time in that household for all of you.
We have a good time for sure.
Is there anything we didn't cover?
Uh, Not really. I think we talked about dogs for an hour. I feel like so. I think we nailed it.
Could talk about them all day. It's not necessarily healthy. I don't know if it's that relatable, but to me, I'm just like, oh, everybody must love dogs as much as I do and want to hear about them and talk about them and show them off.
Yeah. Well, if they don't, then that's their problem, and they got to figure that out for themselves.
Yeah. Is there anything that I can plug for you? Where can people find you?
At Bill Squire on Instagram and Twitter. Whoopsie has her own Instagram at Whoopsie Doodle 216 on Instagram, and then the Bill Squire Show is my podcast where I'm trying to get, and she makes appearances on there from time to time because she's not the most well behaved. So she'll just show up in the background, or she'll start barking, and so she's a part of that.
Well, who could get mad about her making an appearance, really? If I was watching something and a dog showed up, I would be like, I like this even more now. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. And that's amazing. I'm so happy for you. And
All right.
whoopsie.
Thank you. And I had a good time, and have to get you back on my show pretty soon.
I would love that.
All
Thanks
right.
so much. Take care.
Take it easy. Bye.
Bye.